Hey guys, what's going on? It's time for an episode of Q&S, questions and subscribers. And before we start though, I just want to show you this that arrived today. This is an aquatic ornament which I ordered for Ronin. Although it's not brilliantly to scale, it's a little on the small side, I thought I could use it as a small ornamental piece, like a small shrine or something like that. I could maybe add to it or something like that, but yeah, I think it'll look okay on the tabletop. Anyway, take your chances with aquatic ornaments, I suppose. Anyway, the question I asked last time to you guys was what was the most recent game you got into and what drew you to it? And my answer, I gave you my responses, Zombicide and Bolt Action. So that's what we're going to start with. Obviously the one before that was about what models did you want makeovers for, so there might be the old question still relating to that, or might comment relating to that, but primarily, what was your latest game you got into and what drew you to it? Okay, we start with P. Beckers. He says, just started playing, I ain't been shot, mum. I thought it looks like a decent 15mm World War II company level game which I could play out real historical battles. Just did a vid on it if you want to see what the game, table and armies look like. And I did take a look at that and it does look very good. I think with World War II stuff I'm going to stick with the Bolt Action because I've invested into it now. If I change scales, I suppose I could change scales to 15mm and Bolt Action. Then maybe I'd look at Flames of War, possibly, because it's fairly common. I mean, I've got to admit, I'd never heard of I Ain't Been Shot Mum, but it looks alright. I don't know, you know, without seeing more of the rules in action, I can't comment too much, but it looks okay. Remco Begiers, brackets, Gaming Chefs RB, says, regarding the Scouts again, they should have some more posing options. Agree with that. Most recent game I got into was Zombicide as well. Yay! Nice one, dude. A friend had it laying around and it's a co-op game, so no one is the enemy, which is loads of fun. And yeah, that's the thing there, isn't it? It kind of, it's a tense game, but not between players, not between you, not against each other. You're on the same side, which makes it hugely fun. Having a beer and a game equals a lot of laughs, and I totally agree with that. I mean, it's great just to get it set up, you know, with a couple of drinks, some snacks or whatever. It's just, you know, I can't rate it high enough. Good choice. Idic Beer says, great responses. I think they delay updates because they have older sculpts to move off the shelves first. That makes sense. Also, what you said about regarding the fluff, then looking at the model and not liking it. Having said that, even worse is reading about a model and then there is no mini to go with it. Thank goodness that is not happening anymore. My most recent non-40k game was Wings of Glory, mainly because my buddy wanted to try it. It is a fun game, but I found it a bit boring after a while. Yeah, I can see why it kind of would be. Although there's different types of aeroplanes and that, there's not a huge element of variation there. It's not like you can expand upon that either, because I'm guessing it's a certain time period, like a World War one. So there was only a certain number of different model planes around. I could be wrong, but yeah. Okay. Robert Chisholm says, the most recent games for me are Muskets and Tomahawks and Song of Drums and Tomahawks. Now I've heard of Muskets and Tomahawks. My local games shop, Antics, that's not the Games Workshop one, but the general one, they do a lot of Muskets and Tomahawks stuff. I see the books with it on, but I've never heard of Song of Drums and Tomahawks. Is that the same company? But I am intrigued. Definitely intrigued. I'm kind of trying to say to myself at the moment though, pull back on trying to go into loads of different games because trying to figure out all the rules and that for different games, it's just mind blowing, to be truthful. But that's not to say I won't look at it in the future. I think I probably will. Both are skirmish level horse and musket era games. See, just saying that intrigues me. That sounds awesome. Specifically, these are for recreating battles in the wilderness of the North America during the French and Indian War and American Revolution. Again, sounds awesome. As to how I got interested in the two games, I started reading up on Napoleonic history and gaming. Eventually, I branched off into something local and took an interest in the French and Indian War. Great. I'm reading about World War II at the moment to enhance my enjoyment of bolt action. So I totally understand where you're coming from there. So yeah, good. James and his stuff says, great vid. Let's see what else I've got. Not a lot more, a couple more. And then we'll move on to my question to you guys. Jason Brown says, most recent game? X-Wing. Mainly to get my son involved in the hobby, although it is refreshing to be able to open up a package and have a well painted miniature right there in front of you, and the game doesn't cost that much to boot. So yeah, ticking all the right boxes there, and I totally get that, especially about trying to get your son involved with it as well. So yeah, the fact that you haven't got to paint them, that is a huge bonus, although that is a part of some people's enjoyment for many games, but as for like a younger person to get them into it, that's totally brilliant. And if it doesn't cost that much, even better, you know. Awesome. James and his stuff says, Dead Zone. I've heard of that. The models drew me to it. I've heard of it. I don't know what the models look like. But I totally understand where you're coming from when you say the models drew you to it. I mean, a lot of games I'm into, you know, the models drew me to it. I mean, War Machine and the Hordes, I like the look of the models. They looked good. They looked very good. That's one of the reasons I checked it out more. But yeah, I totally get that. Anyway. That's all the responses I had from my last question. So, my question to you this time is, and before I ask it, thank you very much for responding, by the way. You're totally awesome, and I'm chuffed to have you all as subscribers. Thank you ever so much. My question to you guys this time, which is I'm quite intrigued about, what is your favourite aspect of your hobby? Is it the modelling process, you know, clipping the models off their sprues and gluing them together into different poses and so on? You know, is it just the priming and base coating, because that starts to make it look awesome then? Or the finishing touches of the painting process? Or is it simply just collecting the models no matter where you get them from or how they're painted? Or is it just playing? I'm intrigued. I'd like to get a rough idea. I know it's not going to be totally accurate worldwide, but I'd be kind of interested in hearing my subscribers' responses and getting a kind of percentage of what you like best out of your hobby. Is it just playing, whether they're painted or not? Is it just collecting, or just painting or modelling, or is it all of it? I'm personally into all of it. And I love the painting. The painting and the playing for me are the two best aspects of it, because right, I love to pick up a model. Let's example. Like, oh yes, I love to pick up a model, and as I've put it together, I think that looks awesome, right? Okay. Then I start to paint it and think, oh, and I start to visualise how I'm going to use him in the game, and sort of backstory behind him, and all this other kind of stuff, things like that. And I love to actually see my work, my finished work, on a tabletop. As long as, you know, long as the tabletop's quite good. Even better if it's the stuff I've done myself. But, you know, it's like the reward at the end for a hard work, but work you've really enjoyed. So yeah, so my question, what's your favourite aspect of your hobby? See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.